I'm joined again by my friend and Trump 2020 pollster, John McLaughlin. We're discussing some of the things in my new book called The Return, Trump's Big 2024 Comeback. The essential advantage Trump has, as he well realizes, we've talked about it a lot, is that he'll be the world's first hybrid candidate, part incumbent and part challenger. As a challenger, he can point to all the things Biden and the Democrats have screwed up since he left office: inflation, gas prices, open border, Russian aggression, defunding and handcuffing the police, destroying the oil and gas industry, and so on and so on. But unlike any challenger, he has a record. So when people ask, how do we know you'll stop inflation? He has an infallible answer. I did it already. Hold down gas prices, did that. Create prosperity without inflation, did that too. It's kind of odd to have a candidate who's half incumbent and half challenger. When things fail, when Democrats have policies that don't work, they collect to clothe that failure in the garb of inevitability and pessimism. Yeah, sure, the border's open, but in 2024, you can't seal borders anymore. It's a thing of the past. Yeah, sure, there's inflation, but we have to reconcile ourselves to the idea that prosperity brings inflation these days. Couldn't stop it. But now Trump can penetrate that and say, what do you mean inevitable? Don't give me that BS. I was president, I had prosperity, I had the current social pressures, and the border was closed, and there wasn't inflation. And I think that gives Trump an incredible advantage. Isn't that true, John?
Absolutely, because when you look at the failure of the Biden administration and you look at the polls between Trump and Biden right now, the voters already get that. I mean, if we lived in a different system, a parliamentary system like maybe Israel or Europe, they'd call a no confidence vote. We'd have an election tomorrow and Trump would be president. And when you look at it, the Latino vote, as you cited, because we're looking at new 21st century voter coalitions, the Latino vote, Trump's beating Biden 50 to 45 in our last national poll. The Hispanic voters, 6 out of 10 of them, disapprove of the job Biden's doing now. And these are citizens. And when you look at the immigration issue, they're upset because they played by the rules to become legal voters and citizens. And now you've got an open border driving them crazy, plus inflation eating at their wages. Younger voters, where Biden won, he beat us with voters under 40. The millennials and the Gen Z voters are coming back to Donald Trump because they didn't vote for this rampant inflation and not being able to get jobs to live out their dreams and pay off their college debt. I mean, Joe Biden is basically taking their future and he's mortgaging it right now, and their lives are being devalued. And so you've got women, you've got suburban voters, you have a new coalition coming back for the Republicans and for Donald Trump, and it will be tested in the midterms this November because Trump candidates are going to get, elected, and the Republicans should be able to take the House and the Senate back in November.
By good margins. What the Republicans have really done is they've taken the rainbow coalition that Jesse Jackson boasted about, and they've taken some of the colors out of it. Took away the Hispanics, took away the young Generation Z voters, and even took away black men. Mm-hmm. The polls show that he carries Latinos, wins voters in their mid and late 20s, and gets a third of the African American men.
Right.
When a political party like the Democrats substitutes demographics for issues and accomplishments, it becomes vulnerable. The Democrats have always counted on winning top-heavy margins among their favored demographics. You think your way into the Republican Party, you're born into the Democratic Party by your race and your religion. But if we cut across those racial, age, and gender boundaries, we find the voters the Dems take for granted make great Republicans. John, do you think we can hold the Hispanic vote?
Yes, because what Donald Trump has done, he's transformed the Republican Party from the party, ironically, the party of the country club voters, to now it's the party of the working class voters. And as the recent New York Times Siena poll, which undervalued the Trump voters and the Republicans only at 29%, we were at 36% in the last election. But when you looked at the internals, we're winning with the working class party voters, and regardless of race or age, et cetera, The working middle class is Donald Trump's party. And the party of the elites, the party of those who aren't affected by inflation or aren't affected by the day-to-day challenges that people are facing with inflation and high gas prices, et cetera, those people are voting for the Democrats. But they're so few. I mean, we had in our poll, 42% of all voters, 42% said they are struggling to meet everyday necessities. Another 39% said that they've made significant changes. Those voters want to get Donald Trump back as president because they knew that they had a good, the economy was growing, they could get jobs. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
John, when you get off the airplane or the boat and arrive in America, traditionally the first thing you learn about politics is that rich people vote Republican and poor people vote Democrat. And now that is completely flipped. Rich people vote Democrat, and middle income and poor people increasingly vote Republican. The only thing here is the black vote. There is a gender gap in the black vote. The polling you and John Jordan and I have done shows that black women are still very loyal Democrats, but black men are leaving. They hear Biden saying, I want a black woman on my ticket, a black woman on the court. Forget black men. And they're revolting. They're kind of saying, you know what you're doing? You're replacing the black man in the American family with a gay woman. And you're giving preference to women who are gay over men who are straight. We don't need to raise the incomes of black men. Heather has 2 mommies. Whatever happens, she's going to be okay. And that's something they deeply resent. And right now, we're losing black women by about 10 points, and we're winning black men by over 20 and close to 30 points. And I think that's very significant. What do you say, John?
Well, those gains, we saw it in the 2016 election. Like, for example, in Ohio, the Trump coordinator for Ohio was asking me about why are we getting double-digit black support when Republicans don't usually get it. And when we looked at the samples, they were 2-to-1 men, and they happened to be college educated, were running their own business, and they wanted to be like Donald Trump. And so granted, you want to do better, and Trump absolutely did better than Mitt Romney did among African Americans and continued to progress there, and they're more available to us. But he's definitely getting voters now in these future elections or these ballots that the Republicans don't normally get, precisely because of their aspirations.
John, normally it's pretty much guaranteed that the incumbent president runs again for another term, but President Biden may break that tradition.